Thank you to Ubisoft for providing me with access to the game. Hey guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day so far, and as many of you know, Season 6 is upon us. One of the biggest changes this season is the car balancing. There's a total of 70 vehicles that have been tweaked across multiple classes like Street Tier 2, Hypercar, Racing, Rally Raid, and Motocross. I went through and tested them, and in this video I'm going to highlight the most important details, so when Season 6 drops, you'll be ready to go. If you find this video helpful in any way, hit the subscribe button for more Season 6 content. Before we get into the breakdown, I do have the spreadsheet that I recorded all the data with in the video's description below, as well as I have two slides, one for the format of the spreadsheet, the other one is for all the variables and everything that was the same between tests. Starting off with Street Tier 2, the brands Ford, Toyota, Dodge, and Mercedes all seeing some improvement going into Season 6. Top speed now being on average 242 miles per hour for the majority of these cars, improvements to acceleration, lateral Gs, and just overall handling improvements. Ford's Mustang lineup saw a time save of up to 8.78 seconds, specifically in the 2013 Shelby GT500, and many more were not too far behind. Out of all the Mustangs, the ones to look out for are the 2020 GT500 Tribute Edition and or the Road Force 1 Edition, the 2020 Shelby GT500, and finally the 2024 GT Convertible Motorfest Edition. Toyota received a significant improvement, but the two that you need to try out are the Toyota GR Supra and the Ryzen Edition. The Ryzen Edition had the highest time save out of all of the Street Tier 2 cars from Season 5 to Season 6, 12.113 seconds faster, and receiving a huge jump in lateral Gs from 1.19 to 1.39. But out of all of these Street Tier 2 cars that received handling improvements, the Toyota GR Supra is the best. I even believe there is a potential for this car to be in the meta conversation, especially when you look at the stats compared to, let's say, the F40 and the 993. The Supra has a top speed of 243 miles per hour compared to the 237 of the F40 and the 993. The Supra does not slow shift like the 993 and the F40. The lateral G of the Supra actually sits in between the F40 and the 993, and as well as on the test track, the F40 was the only car to beat out the Supra's time. We will have to wait for the update to drop in order to see how well the GR Supra does perform versus the F40 and 993, because factors like grand race routes, slipstream, and the drivers that you're going up against can play a big role in the success that you have with a specific car. Dodge also received a bump in overall performance. The two that stood out from the rest were the SRT Viper GTS Lightning Edition, as well as the Challenger SRT Demon Awaken Edition. They both are solid choices. The Lightning Edition does gutter better, but the Awaken Edition just accelerates like no one's business. Mercedes got some love as well, but there's really only one car I can really recommend, and that is the AMG SL63 4MATIC Plus. If you remember, this car actually was decent prior to Season 6, and that still stands even with a decrease in lateral Gs. Now let's talk about Hypercar. Mclaren, Ferrari, Pagani, Celine, and Chevrolet all received tweaks. 300 miles per hour seems to be the new average for most of these hypercars, and some slight bumps to lateral Gs are present. McLaren models as a whole feel more usable at high speed. They're not a Guerra level, but for sure they are much better than they were before. The McLaren Senna improved the most out of all of the other hypercars that received this handling improvement, improving its time from Season 5 to Season 6 by 3.559 seconds on the test track, and it set the fastest time overall out of all of the other cars on this handling improvement list. I would suggest trying out the Senna, the 720S Spider Blast Edition, the P1, and or the P1 Gold Line Edition. They're all decent. Ferrari, although receiving some buffs, also saw some of their models get lower top speeds. Both the Ferrari Enzo and F12 TDF went from 306 and 305 miles per hour to 300. Now, even though the top speeds were lowered, the other changes to the handling did allow for improvement on the test track. Out of all of the Ferraris, the 488 Pista did the best, which makes sense since the lateral G went up from 1.32 to 1.53. A wild card that Ferrari does have is the SF90. The acceleration it has is nuts, and if you use it on a technical grand race route with a proper setup, you could see some good results, but in high-speed turns, it just falls apart. Pagani unfortunately also received some nerfs in top speed across the 4 models that were adjusted. However, the changes to acceleration and handling still improved the car's performance overall. The Pagani Huayra is the best option due to its higher top speed and lateral G, but the other models are not too far behind. The Rubicon Edition, which is earnable in the main stage Legacy, posted the same time as its little brother, even with slightly worse stats. Celine received a decent upgrade, but the Glacier Edition is the way to go out of the 2 options. Posting a time 0.7 faster than the base model, it's honestly a no-brainer to go with the special edition. Chevy's models overall are more close than any of the other manufacturers. If I had to make a recommendation, either go with the Gold Nugget or the base model. They have a higher lateral G and were able to inch out a faster time than the other model variants. Now for the racing category. Bentley was the only manufacturer to receive any changes, and it went specifically to the 2010 Continental Supersports. It did improve by quite a margin, however the weight of the car is still noticeable. It is better than it was in Season 5, but I wouldn't recommend using it unless you just love the brand. Now for the quad and rally raid and motocross bikes. Unfortunately, due to time constraints, I was not able to get data for them on the track. I did, however, get the differences in the lateral Gs as well as in the top speed. As you see here, the quad actually received 2 nerfs, one in the top speed by 1 mile per hour as well as in the lateral G. The problem is when you see the lower lateral G, you might think it might handle worse. But actually it's much more planted for whatever reason. I'm not sure the other metrics that was changed because that's data that we don't know, unfortunately. But when driving around turns and turning a lot beforehand in Season 5, it would actually lift like 2 of your wheels. It would be very unstable, and it honestly led to quote-unquote janky physics. But now it is actually a little bit more planted. Now for motocross, the changes are more uniform. It seems like 158, 157 miles per hour is the average for top speed, as well as 138 is the average for lateral G, which is nice because before, really, you'd only use the YZ450F simply due to the amount of top speed advantage it had over the other bikes. I believe in the grand races, you might start seeing a little bit more variety when it comes to motocross. The top speed really is the most important stat when it comes to motocross. As far as handling, the bikes handle slightly different. I did notice it seems like they're a little bit more agile, but it's going to require some extensive testing, especially since I was not able to get any race data in the early access build. And that is my overview of the Season 6 balancing changes in the Crew Motorfest. If you made it this far in the video, I would like to say thank you for your support. If you did find this video and content helpful, make sure to hit the subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. And let me know in the comments below what you're most excited about for Season 6. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your night, whichever time zone that you're in, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.